Welcome to my version of First Things First, Nick Wright's Quarterback Mountain. The most unbiased, the most grounded, the most real and authentic quarterback rankings in the entire NFL, in the entire world. It's consistently voted as one of the best / the best rankings in the world. It's awesome. It's all because of y'all. And I really, really, really do appreciate it. But I do my rankings a little differently. I do not care about what happened in the past. I do not care what happened in week 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't care what happened in 2023 and 2024. It is not a rich tapestry, even though Nick Wright himself has started to slowly get rid of the whole rich tapestry aspect of his mountain. I don't know. I guess he really did just make up the rules as he went along. Kind of like, whose line is it anyway? But I just care about how did you play this past week. That's it. That's the only thing that matters. Just because you put up a bunch of points or had a bunch of passing yards and touchdowns and it was against a bad team or whatever doesn't mean that you're automatically at the top. Just because you lose, just because you turn the ball over doesn't mean that you're automatically at the bottom. This is made for nuance. This is made to elevate and sometimes be a little extra hypercritical on a team for a quarterback. And anytime you go up against a bad team, there's always some sort of deficit you got to overcome a little bit. You just got to run with it. You just got to run with it. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. At the bottom, we have Shedeur Sanders. And it's not right to left, left to right, or anything like that. Just see Shedeur Sanders is right there. But we'll start with Shedeur Sanders. Before any Shedeur Sanders fans freak out, because you may have not watched this mountain since the beginning, since I've been doing it. They're like, oh, you just hate him. You just want to be negative. I've had Jalen Hurts at the top. I've had Sam Darnold at the top. I've had Stafford at the top. That's the fun of the mountain. You never know where you're going to end up. It genuinely changes week to week to week. And so right now, Shedeur is at the bottom. Not because he did anything inherently wrong. There's just other quarterbacks that, from my viewpoint, clearly played better. I do think his performance against the 49ers, when you're grading it on a rookie scale, second game of his entire NFL career, I see it as a win in the win column for how, in a plus minus, yes, no type of grading format. It was a positive win for him, but just not good enough to move up on the mountain. CJ Stroud, wasn't great, wasn't terrible. A big win, an important win, coming back from a concussion, still feels a little slippery. I like to say it's just when a quarterback just doesn't feel super comfortable to me, doesn't feel within rhythm with the offense. It just feels like you're playing a little bit on ice, and that was just the sense that I got from CJ. Happens to these younger quarterbacks who are getting injured, who are kind of in and out of the lineup. I saw it with Jordan Love. Last season specifically, and so I'm seeing that a little bit with CJ right now. His offense doesn't necessarily do him in his favors, but his defense certainly does. Sam Darnold did not have a great game, didn't need a great game. They still absolutely dominated the Minnesota Vikings, but just was one of those games, couple fumbles, just much ado about nothing for Sam, not a lot. Lamar Jackson did not play great. Lamar Jackson didn't even play good. It was pretty much of whatever could go wrong did go wrong for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. And same story for Matthew Stafford. Had a pick six, a devastating pick six. Had a red zone interception. And then had a red zone fumble that was at that point of the game near the end. It was as the time was running out in the fourth quarter to either tie the game or take the lead. Absolutely devastating. It was the one thing you can't do. You can take a sack. You can't have a fumble sack. And he did. A strip sack. Jalen Hurts, he, had the fumble and the tush push, threw the interception, couldn't really overcome any of the issues or limitations from that Philadelphia Eagles team. So he had to go to the bottom. And let me just take a quick second before we go to the next round, because I've had moments where I had Jalen Hurts up top or Stafford down low or Sam up top or this or that. And, right now I have a lot of, dare I say, a little annoying Matthew Stafford fans right now, even though I absolutely love Stafford. And that's why I keep saying I think Stafford is elite. I think he's special. And they're like, oh, you're so biased, blah, 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 blah. What if it was Jalen Hurts? What if it was Sam Darnold? Well, congrats. Y'all are actually at the bottom of the mountain right now, proving that I'm actually unbiased and I keep it consistent. You could disagree with me. You could absolutely disagree with me. I'm not always right. But you can't disagree and argue my lack of bias or my consistency. And we got a bunch of Dak Prescott fans who also want to jump in that mix too. But keep watching. You might like what you see, even though I had a bunch of Dak Prescott people say, like, you're such a hater. I'm always a hater. I know. I guess I hate everyone but like one quarterback, apparently. And now we got the next one. We got Daniel Jones, Jackson Dart, Jacoby Brissett, Caleb Williams. I almost said Caleb Wilson. Don't know where that came from. Caleb Williams and Baker Mayfield. Could not think of his name. Daniel Jones, man, the dude's playing with like a broken femur or fibula, whatever the heck it is. You know, he's obviously hurting. He's still playing pretty well. You know, had a tough game going up against obviously a tough defense. It was actually really impressive. I actually really could have put him even higher, honestly. There were some missed plays. I think he actually played high quality. This is the tough part of the mountains. Like you know, it's just it can get hard out there. Jackson Dart, listen, man. I know Jackson Dart's stats this game against the New England Patriots won't be amazing, but that guy is playing with no one. And if you have any question marks about like, well, is J.J. McCarthy a good quarterback? Or, well, what about this other quarterback? It's like, look at Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is playing with no one, a fired coach right now. It's a disaster of a franchise right now. And that guy is still putting giving his team even just a semblance of a chance, just even a glimmer of hope. And that's impressive. Right now, like a J.J. McCarthy, he is not giving you any hope. You know, I'd say he's having a better rookie year, considering all that's going on around him, better than a Caleb Williams, honestly, last season, that is. And so I'm impressed by that. I'm impressed considering the circumstance and the situation. The dude's taking shots after coming back from a concussion. I mean, like, he's him. Jacoby Brissett, I also continue to be wildly impressed with him. He had a 72.5 completion percentage, 301 yards, 7.5 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, this guy, you know, it's like, who is Jacoby, right? I mean, like, you're just like, Jacoby Brissett's nothing at this point in the NFL. No one's trying to be like, well, you know, he might have some juice left over. Like, let's see if he can start for us and take us to the playoffs, right? Like, this isn't a Sam Darnold type situation, a Daniel Jones type situation, a Mac Jones type situation. And the guy's bringing it. The guy really, really is. And I just respect that, man. He looks better than Kyler Murray, who got, you know, was a top pick, making a gajillion dollars, was a franchise quarterback, and you're like, I'd rather have Jacoby. I respect that. What's he, 32, 33 years old? Caleb Williams, you know, this game really didn't call for him to do much. I don't think he played particularly well. He had a 47.2% completion percentage, right? 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a passer rating of 56.9. That game was all run game. Just is what it is. I don't think he didn't play terrible. He had the 1 turnover, but he wasn't a disaster. He made some nice plays. He had that really beautiful touchdown pass. So, you know, I kept him up there. And then you had Baker Mayfield. Again, you know, he's also playing banged up, you know, still laying his body on the line. Again, nothing too crazy with Baker. You know, 18 for 28, 64.3% completion percentage, 194 yards, 1 touchdown. He dealt with a bunch of drops in that game as well. A couple key drops. One of them, I think, would have been a touchdown by Buka. Buka had a few drops in that game, so I think his stats would have looked a little bit better. That game could have been, you know, have a little bit more separation if it wasn't for that. And now we got the next one. Justin Herbert should be up there too. I forgot to put Justin Herbert up there. That is my fault. Justin Herbert should be up there. The dude is continuing to get walloped. He now had to get surgery on his broken hand, wrist, finger, whatever the heck it is. And yeah, he had a 75% completion percentage, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had the 1 interception, but a passer rating of 108.5. I mean, the dude just continues to get absolutely walloped nonstop. He's a soldier, man. He is an absolute soldier. Josh Allen, this is a pretty straightforward game from him. Nothing too crazy. He had a beautiful touchdown pass, but again, nothing too crazy. 65% completion percentage, 123 yards, going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but still a really high-quality game. And a lot of these situational moments when they needed to have a conversion, multiple third downs, it was Josh Allen's legs, Josh Allen's legs, Josh Allen's legs. I think Brock Purdy played really well, again, against a tough defense, tough conditions. Not after not having a great game the week before that. Now you're going up against a great defense, considering he hasn't played this whole season, so you have the Mac Jones situation on your shoulder. He ran it in for 1 or 2 touchdowns, I forget. And so I think all things considered, he played a pretty good game as well. If he had been playing well throughout the season and if he didn't get injured and whatnot, I'd probably be able to lower him a little bit, but considering the circumstances of what he's dealing with, I appreciate that. Drake May played unbelievable in this game. He unfortunately is the victim of getting knocked by playing the New York Giants. I made a separate video praising Drake May and just how special he's been. He was 24 for 31, 282 yards, 9.1 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, and a 126 pass rating, and had a couple just breathtaking throws that you're just like, oh my gosh, this guy is absolutely unbelievable right now. So he is playing just out of his mind, through the roof, and I could have easily elevated him even higher, but when you see the other quarterbacks that are up there, I just think that the circumstances, the teams that they were playing, there was more at stake, and so for this style of mountain, that will always be weighted a little bit more. And it's the same thing for Trevor Lawrence, going up against not so great of a team. They're winning, obviously, but he was 59.3% completion percentage, 229 yards, 8.5 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 111.5. But pretty inaccurate. You're going up against a terrible team. He had time. He was pressured an average normal amount. Like I just expect a lot more surgical. I just expect a higher quality passing attack in that circumstance. And again, it was not a bad game, but like especially when you're playing a bad team and I'm trying to rank you in a mountain, I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire a little bit in that one. And then we got Bryce Young, wheeling and dealing. 75% completion percentage against one of the top defenses in the NFL. 206 yards, 10.3 yards per attempt, and 3 touchdowns. Now listen, I do not watch that game and say, Bryce Young, he is the future. He is the man. He had a 147.1 passer rating. But he would be the reason why the Panthers do not win that game. And he simply was not that problem. And when they needed him to make a big throw, he made a big throw. And like this guy's career is hanging on by a thread. I mean, it really is. It's just like everyone's like, he's not even going to get his 5th-year option. Like, what do you do with Bryce Young? And that's what I was kind of saying before about like Drake May in my post-game clip, where I was just like, hey, if you have a question about a quarterback, like, should we, continue forward with him? Like, how strongly do we feel about a Tua or a Bryce Young or whatever? And it's just like, just look at Drake May. Like, that's how you're supposed to feel about your young quarterback. Bryce Young doesn't do that. And going up against the top team in the NFL, what majority of people have said that's the number 1 team in the NFL, the performance that Bryce Young put up in poor weather conditions, he played a heck of a lot better than Matthew Stafford, who was considered the top MVP candidate. I'm really impressed with that. Jared Goff played awesome. Jared Goff was not the problem in that game by any stretch of the imagination. He was also going up against an elite defense. Micah Parsons was feasting, and he was 20 for 26, 76.9% completion percentage, 256 yards, 9.8 yards per attempt, and 2 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 132.9. There's just not much more you can ask of that man in that moment in time. I mean, it's just, what else could you ask him to do? There was this one crucial 4th down that it led to a drop. It depends if you want to blame him for throwing slightly behind him, but behind his receiver. It just seems like there's 2 perspectives from that. Yes, Jared Goff could have thrown maybe a little bit better of a pass, but I mean, I just don't know if I'm really holding his feet to the fire in that game. There were 2, definite drops in that game, and that would have given him a completion percentage of 91.7% against a top defense in the NFL. He was still pressured 11, 12 times in that game. that is a great performance. Losing your number one receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, in the very beginning of the game, that's just really impressive. That's really, really impressive. Dak Prescott played awesome. He really, really did. Going up against a defense that's clearly struggling a bit, but I still think that this was a big game, a big time performance. 69.2% completion percentage, 27 for 39, 8.2 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns. He had the 1 interception, which was definitely not pretty. He had 3 turnover worthy plays. Like, he could have had like 3 interceptions in that game. That's why he got knocked a little bit. It was a big time game, big time performance, had a 100.4 passer rating, but again, have to be a little bit more brutal here. I really don't even know if he was the story of that game, honestly. Like that, for me, it was George Pickens probably more than anything. Like, just, and honestly, really the team as a whole was just like, everyone's coming to play right now. The run game, the play calling, the coaching, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Dak is included in that. So again, really impressive game, big time performance from Dak. No knock on him whatsoever. Easily could have been in the second from the top, but I opted to go with this. Who we got there? None other than Patrick Mahomes and Bo Nix. Patrick Mahomes played unbelievable. Patrick Mahomes played awesome in that game. 261 yards, 67.6 passing yards, 4 touchdown passes, had that amazing, incredible, where he was kind of scrambling, stumbling, and then makes the throw to Xavier Worthy. Don't get me wrong, his receivers also had some big time catches there, but 129.7 passer rating on the road against Dallas. Their defense brought a ton of pressure. Patrick Mahomes was pressured 17 times, and I've been giving him, I've been holding his feet to the fire for dealing with pressure, dropbacks with pressure, and he answered the call. He played really well. He was not the problem in that game. He took care of the ball, did really well with it. Only had the 1 turnover worthy play. It obviously wasn't enough, but I think he played awesome. I think that was a fantastic game. Bo Nix. Bo Nix. I really think that was one of Bo Nix's best games that he has played. There's been such an elevation and a step, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, why did Bo Nix get it instead of Dak or, whatever other quarterback you want to use? It's why you got to watch the game. The types of throws that he was making, the throws on the run, he was also the victim of 5 drops. 5 drops. He could have easily thrown for 200 plus yards. He threw for over 321 yards, but he easily could have had over 400 yards. And again, the Washington Commanders are not this great team. 100% agree with all of that, but the game was close. They put a ton on Bo Nix's shoulders. He answered the call. He had 48 dropbacks, 45 pass attempts, which led the NFL. Had to go to overtime, and in overtime marched down the field, and it was pass. The only time they didn't pass was a 5-yard touchdown run when they were obviously already in the red zone at that point. So Bo Nix played awesome, had the 1 throw where he was falling to the ground and threw it, where, if I was talking about this in the comment section, if it was any other quarterback, they'd be throwing confetti and dropping banners and having a whole parade for him. But since it's Bo Nix, it's just like they want to downplay it for whatever weird reason. But he played awesome in that game. And the reason why he doesn't get knocked as much from going up against a lower level team is because, first off, the Washington Commanders are not some terrible team circling the drain like the Tennessee Titans, like the New York Giants, like the Cleveland Browns. That's number one. They're a well-run team. Dan Quinn is a great coach. Cliff Kingsbury, Marcus Mariota played great, and that game was close. And it wasn't like Bo Nix's fault why it was close. It's not like he fumbled the ball 3 times or whatever. Like, the game was close just because it was, and because that defense, the Marcus Mariota and that offense, came to play. They were playing to win, and they needed big plays from Bo Nix, and he answered the call. So, really, really impressed with that. And then we got Joe Burrow. Not even on the mound. He's just coming from the sky. He's lightning. He is for himself. And you're probably like, why is he up there? His game was only so good. He only threw for whatever. Listen, man, the guy is making a gajillion dollars. He hasn't played in literally months. His team is an absolute disaster right now. The chances of them making the playoffs are pretty much nothing. It's Thanksgiving, and you're going up against the Baltimore Ravens. This would have been the easiest game for him to be like, I'm not playing. I'm not playing in this game right now. Why? I make a gajillion dollars. No one's even going to fault me. No one knows how much pain I'm in. All I do is got to say I can't play. No one's going to question that. And yet he still played. And we can say it's easy. Well, of course he should. He makes all this money, and I agree. Like, yeah, you make all this money, blah, 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 blah. But, like, he really didn't have to do that. He really didn't. And so the fact that he's out there, the fact that he's playing, the things that he was saying, the fact that he admits, like, this is a child's game. This is a kid's game that we get paid a lot of money to play. I'm going to play. I want to do it. Like, let's get after it. I just appreciate that, man, because there are a lot of players, a lot of, whether they're quarterbacks or whatever it is, no matter what the sport is, they don't always do that. And I think it should be respected. I think it should be applauded. And I think it should really be the norm. And it felt authentic too. It really did. And sometimes Joe Burrow, a lot of these guys can sometimes give off like a little bit of an inauthentic energy. I think sometimes Joe Burrow, just the way he dresses, I'm like, what are you even doing? Like some of these guys, the way they dress, I'm like, man, if I was a quarterback in the NFL, I'd be wearing sweats. Why do I want to wear some fancy outfit? I'm going to go chains. I've been traveling. I've been on the bus or a plane or whatever. I am wearing sweats. Like, y'all are crazy wearing some of these most ridiculous outfits I've ever seen. I'm just like, who are you trying to impress? For what purpose? It's ridiculous to me. It really is. I find it absolutely insane. And so the fact that man got out on the field and played, I'm impressed. I respect it. But the quarterback of the day for me was none other than Jordan Love. J-Lo, not J-No. He had multiple fourth down touchdown conversions. I think they were 4 for 4, 3 for 3 as a whole, but I think 2 of them, the conversions were touchdowns. He had some beautiful passes, man. Like, this was a Jordan Love game where you were just like, wow, this guy plays like this. If this guy just plays like this 90% of the time, I mean, like, you're just talking about a truly special player. He was dominant in that game. I mean, it was just such a gifted display of throwing, and it's not like the box score itself will necessarily be through the roof. 60% completion percentage, 18 for 30, 234 yards, 4 touchdowns. Obviously the 4 touchdowns is going to be a big boost, but a 124.2 passer rating. He was pressured 14 times. Put that in perspective. Patrick Mahomes was pressured 17 times. So, all within range of one another, and didn't take a single sack. Was just great with the ball. His average depth of target was 12 yards. Just really, really, really high level football. And, he was kind of technically the best quarterback, even just statistically, whether you want to use any of these other types of ratings, like by a pretty wide margin, if you want to use like PFF's offensive rating, QBR, whatever it may be. It was just the types of throws that he was being asked to make when he was being asked to make them on the road in Detroit. Just a really, really impressive game to me. But yes, that is my pyramid right now. Yes, I left a handful of quarterbacks off right now because I try to stick with the quarterbacks that are actually relevant right now. I'm not going to put Tyler Shuck up there in this moment of time, Tyrod Taylor in this moment of time, Tua Tagovailoa. I don't know, maybe if you keep winning, maybe you'll get back on this mountain right now. I figured I'd be nice and just leave Max Brosmer, whatever the heck your name is, off the mountain. If he was actually like a legitimately drafted rookie and it was his first game, then we could put him on there. But like, that guy is more of a victim than anything else. They're like, hey, you want to be a quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings? Like, get out there, kid. Let's see what you got. And it's like, maybe don't do that. Yeah, I don't think there was any other like actually relevant quarterbacks that were left off outside of me accidentally leaving Justin Herbert, Geno Smith. He's not on this mountain. The Raiders are terrible. And yeah. Oh, and I didn't have Aaron Rodgers up there because he didn't even play the full game. He was injured. He was banged up. Then he comes out, and then Mason Rudolph goes in there, throws his pick. So like, I I just kind of left him off there right at that moment of time because he's also playing with like a broken wrist, or also he's in a cast. Like I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Honestly, he like busted his nose. Like what am I supposed to do with that? So I left him off as well. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about my quarterback mountain? Who do you have the biggest problems with? I feel like we'll see people complain about Shador. Surprise, surprise. Caleb. Surprise, surprise. Stafford. Probably get some complaints about Bo Nix and Patrick Mahomes, and Dak Prescott would be my my guess. But again, I am fair. I forget. Nick always says like, "Oh, the committee is strict, but they're fair." And it's just like, I'm telling you that I think that Drake May has been elite and special, and he played awesome against a lower level team, and he got knocked for it. The same thing that I did for Matthew Stafford when he dominated, I think, the Titans or whatever the heck team it was. And people were like, "Oh, you're so biased. If it was Jalen Hurts, he'd be at the top." And it's like, well, I've been singing the absolute praises of Drake May and saying he should be strongly considered for the MVP. And like, look where he is right now. Josh Allen was at the top of the mountain when he had a 6-touchdown game. Now he's on the same level of Trevor Lawrence, who I've ripped throughout the whole course of the season. Jalen Hurts, who I said had a real MVP case going up until whatever week things started to kind of take a turn. He's at the bottom of the mountain. So that's how it works. Be careful when you call someone a hater. Be careful when you call someone biased. If you're going to say it, at least let it be kind of accurate. Let it be true. Otherwise, you're just saying a bunch of nonsense into a tunnel. Have fun with that. Have fun with that. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.